Welcome, everyone. This is Austin coming at you with this new series we're very excited to bring to you. It's called Wealth Building Wednesdays with Marlon Mueller, farm boy who became a multimillionaire. Over the next few weeks, including today, Marlon has agreed to share part of his journey with you. There's a lot of exciting things. Marlon's going to have an ebook coming out. He spent 35 plus years dedicating himself learning the principles of wealth. Today, Marlon's going to share. Marlon, do you want to kick us off here? I want
to. So the title I titled this "Wealth Doesn't Start with Money," which a lot of people think you have to have money to make money, and money and wealth is, one and the same. But really, wealth doesn't start with money. It actually starts with your thoughts. How you think, your mindset.
Hold on, Marlon. Wealth doesn't start with money. Now, there's a lot of people that are not going to buy that. How can you tell me, listen, if I had money, especially in this market, the market's all over the place. With all the stuff going on in the news, if I had money to invest, I could change my situation. How can you tell me that wealth does not start with money?
Well, I guess it's statistics. You take people that win lotteries and stuff like that. They always go back to the level that they were at before they won the lottery. And in a lot of cases, it's worse. I think Zig Ziglar summed it up really well. He said, rich people have small TVs and big libraries, and poor people have small libraries and big TVs.
That was worth you clicking on here today. Let's grab this quote. So Zig Ziglar said, rich people have small TVs and big libraries, and poor people have big TVs and small libraries.
Which basically is just saying that, the rich continue to expand their knowledge while the poor will spend most of their time engaging in mindless activities. TV, fictional books. A lot of people spend hours on social media. I actually belong to a mastermind of wealthy individuals, and I know I follow a lot of them, and most of them attend countless other masterminds and trainings and other events to learn and connect to others for their own growth. So the real question we have to ask ourselves is, what is a wealth mindset? Because that's what this is all about. And I believe a wealth mindset is a set of beliefs. It's your habits, it's your behaviors, and that's what separates the wealthy from the rest. Because a wealthy mindset, it'll guide you to make the most of the money you have. In other words, a wealthy mindset means spending less, making wise investments, and looking for ways to improve your financial standing with minimal risk.
This is great because as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking that somebody who's not really connected to wealth, doesn't have a wealth mindset, I think you're really hitting it home here because they might be thinking, wealth is far off in the future. I need a certain amount of money. I need a big change. I need a big windfall. Like something's got to change in order for me to be wealthy. And you're saying, no, you're saying, no, it starts right now with your mindset.
Right. And when I say like minimal risk, a lot of us are taught to, when you're young, take lots of risk. And if you lose it, you're still young, you can make it again. And I think Warren Buffett, when he said about investing, he said the first rule of investing is don't lose money. And the second rule of investing is don't forget first rule.
Yeah.
And I didn't always follow that rule. And so I lost lots of money in lots of different, investment vehicles. So now when I look at investments, I now say it's not so much the return on my money as it is return of my money. It's a
return of my money. So return on my money versus return. So explain, go deeper there. What are you saying?
Well, so a lot of people that look at investments like, oh, it gets this huge return. Well, there's no guarantee that it's going to have that huge return. And a lot of times those investments will go completely to zero. And so you don't have any of your money coming back, and you just lost the potential to invest with that money in the future. I mean, you literally, even though when the stock market drops, people will say, oh yeah, it gets back to the level, even if you lost 30%. But it takes a lot more than 30% to grow back to that level because you're starting with a lower level of income or a lower level of an investment.
So it sounds like what you're saying is, if to try to interpret this, is go in with the mindset that you're going to recoup your money, that recouping your money is a priority. So you're not Warren Buffett's rule, you're not losing it,
Right.
but you still want to create the upside potential to
Right.
grow the money. So it's almost like avoid losing your money, but still position yourself to grow your money. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Right. And that's really a learned skill in a sense. I mean, it took me years to understand that, you know.
So this is something that we could, and is this going to be in your book, Marlon?
Sure. Yeah, there'll be some of the stories of, you know, my challenges.
So the challenges, right? Because I love the way you said I've made 1,000 mistakes. Like I've made lots of mistakes to get here. It's not like a lot of times people are like, oh, I just read all these books and I'm a millionaire. And like,
Yeah.
and you're more transparent. Like, listen, I've been at this for 35 years. I made a lot of mistakes. And I just want to recap some of the things here because some folks are joining. So this is Marlon Mueller, 35 plus years, farm boy to multimillionaire. He's got a book coming out and he's going to start teaching some of these principles. We're going to be on here weekly. Marlon's going to be sharing some of his tips. And thing is, this is great. What about today? Wealth doesn't start with money. And I love the fact that you shared that Zig Ziglar said, and you want to share that quote again? Because I want some of these folks to grab this quote. This is brilliant.
Yeah. So he said, rich people have small TVs and big libraries, and poor people have small libraries and big TVs.
Ding, ding, ding. So Marlon, let's go deeper into this mindset, because where does somebody start? You know, like, okay, Marlon, I hear you. That's nice. You're a multimillionaire. Good for you. Good for you. What does somebody do who doesn't have a mindset? Like, where do they go? I mean, and again, I want to hit on what I said. We think it's 1,000. And by the way, we got a heart. So thank you so much for that. Share some love for Marlon here, pouring out some tips. We think we're 1,000 miles away from it. Like something big has to happen. I got to have a big turnaround. But what do you say to somebody today who's starting out brand new and you're saying, no, it's not about money? Because that might be hard for somebody who's brand new to hear. Oh, that's nice for you, Mr. Wealthy Guy. It's nice for you to say it's not about money, but you don't know my situation. So what do you say to that person and to try to create this turnaround in their mindset for wealth?
So I think Jim Rohn really said it well. He said, formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. And when I was learning about this kind of stuff, I had people tell me, you know, when you're working from 8 to 5, you make a living. But what you do from 5 to 8 will make you a lifestyle. And I used to think about that a lot. And really what they're saying is, well, like Ben Franklin would say, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. So really, it's what you're doing. What are you reading? Who are you talking to? Who are you listening to? I mean, I have literally spent huge six figures over the years just to get this knowledge and wealth, you know, going to seminars and conferences and mastermind groups. So, you know, it just doesn't happen literally overnight. It's a change. Like Bob Proctor said, the science and psychology have isolated the one prime cause for success or failure in life. It is a hidden.
Hold on. Let's grab this. First of all, I want to grab the Jim Rohn quote. You said, like, you make a living between 8 and 5, but what you do between 5 and 8, right?
Yeah, that's not his quote, but that's just what I was kind of taught from a lot of mentors in the past. But yeah, you know, most people focus on their job and they're working and then they come home, but it's really what you do when you come home that changes your lifestyle. Are you just watching TV? Are you just reading romance novels? Or are you really digging in to how do you create wealth? How do you change your mindset?
Yeah, and I want to grab this because what I'm hearing, what's coming to me right now is that we put the value of money so high up, right? As a capitalistic society, we value money in this world. And that's why we're talking about building wealth. But it sounds like what I'm hearing you say, and I know in your journey, it's that the education, the self-education, the knowledge that you act on, that is the true value. And I want to hit another quote by Jim Rohn that I heard from Jim Rohn, and I know you're going to resonate with this. And you talked about it earlier with lottery winners, right? If it was all about money, like they've actually made it worse for themselves. If you take all the money, if we magically could take all the currency in the world and divide it up amongst all the people all over the planet, each person gets an equal share. Jim Rohn said that within a short time, the money would be back into the same hands. And I know that's going to tee you up, Marlon. What do you have to say about that?
Well, that's what we always say, that dumb money always follows smart money.
Dumb money always follows smart money. Oh,
yeah, goes to smart money. I mean, the guys that understand how money works will always grab the money. I mean, it's just how it works. I mean, if you don't understand how money works, and literally, if you're listening to other people who are selling you their ideas and you don't have that knowledge, that's how I've lost a lot of money. Listening to other people thinking, oh, they're smarter than me, and literally they weren't. So
we got Ivy on with us today. We got Mama Mo here. I just want to share some of their shares. I need money, and yet it's not the be all end all. So Marlon, what do you have to say about that?
Say that again.
I need money, and yet it's not the be all end all. That's Ivy sharing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there again, it's the focus. A lot of times, people will start focusing on what I need. I can't afford this, that kind of thought process. And it really pulls your mind inward. So when you get to that point, a lot of times you go, well, what do I need? I need this and this. You got to go, how can I afford it? You ask different questions. So it opens up your thoughts to, how can I afford it? What do I need to do to make more money or create more money? And then you start looking at the options and the opportunities that if you don't.
This is a big one. So let's grab this. I'm here with Marlon Mueller, farm boy to multimillionaire. Marlon's got a book coming out. I've been fortunate enough to help him bring this message to the world. And you're talking about this, the mindset, I can't afford it. Like, so how many of us, you listener, you start to think about your decisions and you're immediately thinking, I can't afford it. Can't afford it. Can't afford it. Can't afford it. And I think this may be the reason you tuned in today, because I think about this all the time. If I'm saying to myself, I can't afford it, I'm instantly coming from lack.
Mm-hmm.
And what Marlon is saying, ask a different question. How can I? If there's value there, if it can grow my money, grow my intellectual property in my mind, how can I make it happen? How can I afford it? Is that what you're saying, Marlon?
So like if you're thinking of lack, so don't think about that. If you don't want more of something, don't spend time thinking about it. Literally, what you think about, you bring about. So if you're thinking lack, you bring lack. If you're thinking abundance, you bring abundance. I'll give you an example. So in 1999, I was at a conference, and Robin Crow, he's a musician and publisher, and he had just come out with this book called Jump and the Net Will Appear.
Yes.
And he challenged us to write down 10 goals every day. So I did that for about 2 months. I was writing
10 goals every day. I love this. Go ahead.
So I was writing down those 10 goals every day, and I did that for about 2 months. Well, then I had this piece of property. It was about 3 hours away. I decided I wanted to sell it. I went there. I remodeled it. So I spent about 3 months just redoing the whole house. And about when I got back home, I didn't get to my notebook right away, but I finally, within about a 4-month period, I got, hey, I need to redo this thing, and look at it. And when I looked at those 10 goals, I was amazed because I literally was crossing off 7 of them. And I thought, even though I wasn't thinking of them every day, but I know subconsciously I had them seared into my mind. And I was like, this stuff really works.
It does work. Let me grab a question here from Mama Mo, because I think this one is worth answering for a lot of people. Here it is. What do you think about the phrase, it takes money to make money? I've been told that a lot. So Marlon, it takes money to make money, but we're here today kicking off your weekly series here with me on the show. You're saying wealth doesn't start with money. So let's speak to this again, because this is a very
Right.
popular, phrase that people say, it takes money to make money. I don't have the money, so I can't do it.
Well, actually, I mean, if you have money, you can make more money with it if you're smart. But if you don't have money, I always tell people it's just an idea. I mean, literally, I belong to a syndication group buying apartments and so forth. You can actually go into that group if you brought a deal to us, and you can become part of that without any money up front. So there's opportunities. There's wholesaling. I mean, you can find the deals, bring it to somebody else, and they will pay you for getting those deals. So did it take money to make money? No.
It
So
took
I mean, there's
time,
lots of opportunities.
education, right?
Yeah,
It took learning what to go look for. And
right.
I really
See the
like this
opportunities.
because there we're going back to what you said earlier. It's about what you're putting in here. So if I'm intentional about what I want to learn, and I can learn, oh wow, if I go we used to call it like a bird dog, right? You go find a deal, you bring it to somebody like Marlon and his group, and boom, you're in there. Now, it's not oversimplified. Like, it's easy to find a deal, but you could leverage your relationships. You might know somebody,
Right.
right? That's kind of where this stuff happens. You might know somebody. It's the who, not the do. I heard that quote recently. It's the who, not the do.
Right.
So if you have everybody has a network of people, and if you don't, you can expand your network. And Marlon, I know just by learning, I learn a lot from you and your ability to expand your network. You're always you're consistently putting yourself in different groups of people, interacting with millionaires and billionaires. And, that's why I'm so honored that you're part of our group and what we're building here in our community. And you're sharing your gifts. So we have a couple minutes. Is there any other questions you have for Marlon? Please let us know. I don't know if I'm seeing all the comments. I'm seeing a few of them, but you're free to type it in. You're free to connect with us. We're going to be back next Wednesday, again, at 12:30 Eastern. Marlon, what are we going to share next week before we get into close today's show out? What do you want to share next week?
Yeah, next week we're going to talk about how do you create wealth using insurance, which may not seem like those two go together, but they really, really do. Actually, there's so much more that, I had thought about what I wanted to share, and I'd already cut it down so much, and we didn't even hit half of what I wanted to share even today.
Right.
So much. There's like, it's not only the mindset, but then there's the action step, and then there's the habits. There's a great book that's called Atomic Habits that James Clear, he wrote. In the long run, the quality of our lives depends on the quality of our habits, so and even Napoleon Hill, he wrote the book Think and Grow Rich, which, think about that, think and grow rich. It's not like, have money and grow rich, it's think. And he lived between 1883 and 1970. And then Earl Nightingale read that book, Think, Grow Rich. Mm-hmm. And from learning from Napoleon Hill, he created his publishing company and radio broadcasting. And he created
The Strangest Secret.
Right, The Strangest Secret, which then Bob Proctor, a lot of people know him. And he lived between 34 and he just passed away here in 2022. And he wrote the book, You Were Born Rich, and he has lots of materials. But all those guys, they have one thing in common. And Earl Nightingale kind of sums it up in that The Strangest Secret.
Yeah.
And this is a thought, and I think it's really good.
And
throughout history, the great wise men and teachers, philosophers and prophets have disagreed with one another on many different things. It is only on this one point that they are in complete and unanimous agreement. The key to success and the key to failure is this: we become what we think about. This is the strangest secret. Think about that. We become what we think about. Earl Nightingale wrote that and produced that in 1956.
1956. And I want to put a little clarity for you here. Not what you overthink, right? Like, in other words, anxious, hyper-focused, what you think, pure intention, positive emotion, not think negative, Like I'm trying to think a positive thought, but I'm negative. Like people try to think a positive thought, but they feel like crap because they feel 1,000 miles away.
Right.
Think, pure, emotion, pure, elevated, attraction, activated. And Marlon, this is great. This is gold. So you can see there's an ocean of information, but let's close this out by giving just like let's break it down again to somebody who, let's make it like somebody who's just coming across this for the first time. Wealth. I've never been wealthy. I've always been poor. I've never had a wealth mindset. To somebody who's like, well, I got it going on a little bit, and I'm trying to figure out what to do next. So Marlon, let's leave them with maybe some kind of a mindset. And then I know you spoke about action. And then next week, we're going to be talking about using insurance to grow wealth.
Yeah. So I think to sum it up that way, Robert Kiyosaki, I heard him, I've been to some of his conferences, and I heard him say one time, he said, if it's not here, meaning in your brain, in your mind, it'll never be in your wallet.
That's another good one. If it's not in here, it won't be in your wallet.
Yeah, because you don't understand how to keep it, how to make it, how to protect it. So actually, there's a lot of great books too, and I kind of wanted to end on this if I can. But
yeah, let's do it. I mean, we don't have a hard deadline, so if you have some books you want to share, we got people listening. And by the way, if you have a question for Marlon, you want to share something, Marlon's pouring out his 35 years plus. So obviously we can only share so much in a short segment, but there's going to be a lot more to come. Marlon's going to be in Cherry Hill, March 25th, 26th, 27th. We got a special event here. So Marlon's going to be sharing the stage here and sharing out some of those tips. Get registered for that if you haven't already. I'm going to grab that link while Marlon shares some of his insights and books that he's been blessed to read.
Yeah, some of the mindset books that I've read is, and think about the titles. James Allen wrote As a Man Thinketh. Napoleon Hill, of course, Think and Grow Rich. David Schwartz, The Magic of Thinking Big. Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking. Dale Carnegie, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. And of course, The Atomic Habits by James Clear. Those are some great books. And then if you want to get into more of on the wealth side, Rich Dad, Poor Dad series, Robert Kiyosaki, and The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley. I mean, they're just books on how to change your thought process. And by changing your thought process, you can change your life. Literally become someone new. You can become someone who's identified as poor to become wealthy. Someone who's identified as not friendly to becoming friendly. I mean, you can change your identity by changing your thinking.
Yeah, and let me honor every single person that's on here live, or if you're on the playback, because here's the thing I want to share with you. I want to honor you. You clicked on here. So what Marlon's talking about is happening right now. Just by grabbing one of these quotes, one of these books, something that Marlon said, the change has already begun. So Marlon, thank you so much. Final thoughts before we close out.
Well, I think this is Chinese philosopher Lao Chao said this, and I think this is be a great end. Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character because it becomes your destiny.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So I thank you so much for sharing. Ivy, just want to grab your share here before we say goodbye to everyone. So you've read all the books, but one is the process of reading The Magic of Thinking Big for the second time. So Ivy, you're close. You're close. You're on your way. You're on your journey. And I honor you for showing up here 2 weeks in a row. We should have put something out like that, Marlon. Maybe we should put a little contest here, or a little challenge here for people who show up every single week live. Well, maybe. So Ivy's been on here every week. If you've been on here every week, let me know whether you're live or on the playback, and maybe we'll get a little special surprise for you. Marlon, thank you so much for being here. We will be back next week at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time on Wealth Building Wednesdays with Marlon Mueller, farm boy to multimillionaire. And next week, Marlon, let's set it up again as we say goodbye. Next week, we're going to be sharing.
We're going to talk about insurance and how to use that to make yourself wealthy.
Using insurance to make yourself wealthy. So if you've been blessed by this, share it with someone else who's looking to build their wealth, who's looking to learn more about wealth. And we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye for now, everyone.
Goodbye.